now time.
I'm so excited.
Oh no! I actually love you, but
oh, it's so wrong. I gotta go. I got something new. Not as exciting as this. I'll tell you that right now, but.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Survivor Now's preseason coverage for season 50. We are so excited to be here, and we're less than a month away now from kickoff of this long-awaited season. And yeah, my name is Josh, here to talk about that tonight. And with me tonight is Abraham. How you doing, Abraham?
No complaints. Season 50, no complaints.
No complaints already?
Good. Well, good for you, man. I feel like that makes one of you. But we are excited to be here. Will, and then also with me is Will. How you doing, Will?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm doing better than Abraham over here. He's doing the bare minimum. You know, he's no complaints. No, come on. I'm doing fantastic. We're doing great here tonight.
Oh, that's awesome. We love it. So yeah, so like I said, we are here with some player analysis for season 50. So how this is going to work is for the next 4 weeks, there will be a panel of us coming on to break down 6 of the players that are going to be on season 50. So 6 each week for a total of 24 castaways. And so we're going to talk about like where they've been, where we see them going this season, how they can be adding to their overall story or legacy. It's going to be a fun time. There's like we see people coming back from season 1 all the way through season 49. There's quite the range of people we're seeing this season, and we are really excited to get into it. So the first person we're going to be talking about tonight is Jenna Lewis from season 1 and season 8 All-Stars. I think it's really cool that they brought back somebody from the very first season. You know, Jeff talked about how they wanted this to be a celebration of the show's whole history. And, you know, so there's talk about like, okay, who are they going to bring back from season 1? And I think Jenna is a really great pick. Jenna, in her first season in Borneo, she was 22. She was a single mom, a student. And she was kind of seen as, a more like sort of more innocent, but also someone who was like catching on to the way that the game worked, and was seen as like a little bit of a threat before being taken out in 8th place. She made quite the splash, as everybody did in season 1. Like it's hard to understate, like, no, it's hard to overstate, what a huge phenomenon season 1 was. Like, I mean, Jenna was on the cover of Time magazine because of her her time on Survivor, which, not a lot of the people, these, newer players don't have anywhere near that sort of splash. But yeah, I think 50 million people watched the finale of season 1. So, crazy, huge impact. Jenna, even though she was not one of the bigger characters in season 1, she does come back for All-Stars season 8. She was seen as a little bit more of a random choice at the time because she wasn't from Tagi, the more dominant tribe that won it all, that ended up going to the end. She wasn't one of the more popular players like Greg or Colleen from Pagong, but they brought Jenna back. She comes out guns blazing, going after, saying like, okay, we're taking out all the winners, and they get to Tina Wesson, a former winner, vote off first of All-Stars. She rides that sort of aggressive gameplay all the way to the final 3 before she's Robin Amber's final victim before they make the ultimate final 2, and then the rest is history from there. But Jenna, I think a lot of people, if they haven't watched All Stars in a long time, they can forget that Jenna was like the last one there with Robin Amber, and she and Rupert were in lockstep with them the whole season, completely ran things like pretty much from the swap on. So she made like wildly successful return appearance for Jenna. And then we have not seen her in, what was that? All-Stars was in spring of 2004. So yeah, 22 years
Gone
since Jenna's played.
Just disappeared.
I mean, yeah, she's now like I think 47 years old. She's a realtor living in Northern California. She's got she's doing great in life, seemingly. Mm-hmm. She's married. She's got 4 kids. But she, I don't know, just from some of the initial stuff we've seen so far, like she is ready to go. She is not someone who's like stuck in the past. She seems like locked in and good to go. So Will, from from like an edit like story perspective, like where are you seeing Jenna going this season?
Ooh.
I think Jenna's going for broke, honestly, because here's the thing about Jenna. Who remembers that Jenna actually like made Final 3 in Survivor? Not just any season, but the All-Star season at that too. Like that is really impressive. And All-Stars is a season that hasn't really aged the best, and so it's not a season people really watch a whole lot of. And so I think Jenna's again coming into this as under the radar as humanly possible. She's going to get in really well with the old schoolers because we always see now in All-Star seasons, there's always that new school versus old school mentality in pack. And I think Jenna is going to make another really strong and deep run because of just how much of the background she's been in, because she was also just not the most popular character on Borneo, as you said. Like Greg and Colleen, they kind of stole the Bagong show, and I even think like BB has more notoriety than Jenna Lewis, and that works. I think Jenna is going to make a very deep run, and I think her gameplay translates through Survivor as well, because no matter what era of the show you're in, being under the radar and being good with people and also being cutthroat is going to win big. And so I think Jenna's going to get her hands very bloody and very dirty in this season. And I'm excited. I'm really excited to see Jenna come back, honestly.
Yeah, I'm really excited too. I mean, it's part of the allure of seeing Jenna come back. I mean, aside from like how cutthroat of a player she can be, and how like how much damage she did last time when she was so underestimated. She also hasn't played in 22 years, which is so, I don't know. Like, I'm just so interested. Even if they brought back somebody who did nothing 22 years ago, I would be really interested to see. But not Jenna. So Abraham sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I was born and lived a life in between Jenna's Survivor appearances, guys. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah. I mean, so a lot of people. I mean, Jenna has since she had two, like I said, she was a single mom of 2 kids in her first season, but she has since gotten married with her husband now. She has like 2 kids of her own who I believe are like middle school, high school age. So there's, she's lived a whole life since then too. I mean, as have we all. So Abraham, from the perspective of a former player, like how are you seeing Jenna coming into this? As someone who hasn't played in 22 years.
Here's the thing. After playing Survivor, we all want to go back and play it again. We all want to be a part of whatever season comes back out. And I think she's going to be excited to get out there and play, get out there and see how she fares in this new era of Survivor. But you got to give her credit for the fact that she was number 1. The very first show of Survivor, didn't know what this crazy show was going to be about or how it's going to turn out. I'm looking at Richard Hatch out there playing, walking butt naked. We had never seen it on TV. We got Rudy out there. Rudy, one of the oldest players to play the game of Survivor. And I mean, now you throw him back in the mix after 50 seasons. And now you have to play the new game of Survivor. So I'm more interested to see how they make the change and how it's going to impact how they're going to play. And she's definitely, if you didn't bring somebody from season 1 back, I don't think this would be a 50. I think this would be the worst, because I think that her being back and her playing on All-Stars, and I think the relationship between the 2 players, Amber and them, they kind of overshadow. You always remember that proposal at the final tribal council, him asking her to marry him and things like that. You kind of forget about the players because that was a moment that kind of took precedence over that particular season. But to see Jenna back playing, I just want to see how she gets in there and how she mix it up, because in the back of her mind, the last time she played was 20 plus years ago. You probably could have not watched Survivor for 20 years and came back in season 41. And now you're like, okay, this is the new era. Okay, it's a little bit different, but ultimately it's going to be on an island. It's going to be somewhere, and she has to play. So I think she's going to come to play. 47 is right there in the sweet spot of this cast, and I think it's going to be a great look for her.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. I mean, we see here that I'll bring it up again. That Ollie's pointing out that Jenna's played twice before Will was even born. So yes, lots of people have lived whole lives. But
why is his knees hurt for thinking about it? What's
something
going
that
on?
I love about Jenna, that Abraham, like you said, it's easy to forget. Especially towards the end of All Stars, like that she was right there in the thick of things, because it was Rob and Amber's. The whole story like looms so large, especially 20 years later, as Rob has gone on to become what he is, and they're still married and they have 4 kids and everything. But Jenna was a lot of the things that people remember about the All-Stars at the end is there's a really bitter jury, but Jenna was one of the few who was not bitter at all. And I remember so clearly, like before they give her voting confessional where she votes for Boston Rob to win. She says, before I show my vote, like both of you guys, like step up, like stand up, both of you, like be proud of the game you played. Like you ran this start to finish, like you owned this, like be proud of yourselves. So I think that was really cool that in such a ugly, bitter season, she was only 26 at the time, I think, she was able to see it like that. In a season and in an era that where people took things a lot more personally. I'm really excited to see how 20 plus more years of life and I don't know. If she was that no nonsense, like scared of nobody in 2004, I am really excited to see how she continues her legacy this season.
We got to think about it. The 90s era of Survivor didn't have social media.
No,
it was, unless you had an email. Email was the biggest thing going on. I got an email account. The internet wasn't as big as it is now. We definitely don't have the access. So
yet she never got her VHS tape from home.
No.
Chat, do you remember what a VHS tape is? Because
it is crazy that was a thing. They needed to somehow record a VHS and then mail it to. I mean, they probably mailed it somewhere in the US, and then the US took it over to.
Here's the crazy part.
That's crazy.
So I saw season 1. And I wanted to be on Survivor, so I made a VHS tape.
Wow!
Dang. My application was a VHS tape.
After season 1,
I was stationed in Japan, Okinawa, Japan. I put it in a packet and I sent it off. I was like, I want to be on this. I gotta be on this show, and that was the very first time I applied for Survivor.
Oh, and Josh left. Scared him off.
He was tired of you, Will, because this is our show now. Forget about Josh. It's still recording, so we still doing what we do.
I have no idea what happened there. Sorry.
Quick, Abraham.
We don't even know where Josh went. But now I did. So I know the VH tape application process. I don't know what happened to that tape.
Well, glad you made it on 40 seasons later.
Literally.
Never give up, guys. Never give
up. Any final words on Jenna and how she will be, adding to her legacy and story this season?
No, I think we covered it. I think this is going to be like one of this could be her best showing, and I think if she even wins, we should consider Jenna being like in the high echelon of players, because I don't think she gets a lot of credit for being a player, especially in Borneo and especially All Stars.
Yeah, I think she's overshadowed by a bunch of other stuff that, don't get me wrong now, Rob and Amber, the marriage thing, the 4 girls, and just, what they've given back to the world of Survivor, she's definitely been overshadowed. So I'm glad they got her in here to represent season 1.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of people have understandable complaints about this cast and how, it skews so recent for about half of the cast. But I think one thing that they absolutely nailed was getting someone from season 1 and getting someone like Jenna specifically, who has a lot of fight in her, is a really capable player. And we haven't seen 22 years. Like, I'm so curious how it's going to go for her.
I will say this, Josh, before we go on. I was doing a charity event in December, and I got to meet some of the players from long, like 10 plus seasons that hadn't come back to the charity event, man. And the stories they tell and just the appreciation that I have for them, because I watched them play, and I was like, you're the reason why I applied. Rupert was the funniest. he was the funniest to meet in person and just talk to and be like, hey, thanks for the opportunity to come out there and play a game that you created that I enjoyed.
Yeah, Rupert, one-time ride or die of Jenna in Survivor All
Yeah.
Stars. So
Yeah.
her connections run deep. She's rubbed shoulders with some of the greats in Survivor history, and I'm excited for her to get her moment in the spotlight this season. Yes, we love Jenna. I know she's going to be an icon this season. She can't help herself.
Speaking of icons,
Speaking of icons, moving on to Colby Donaldson from season 2, the Australian Outback. He was the runner-up of that season. Also went on to play in Survivor All-Stars, where he got clipped a little bit before the merge, coming in 12th place. Then came back again for Heroes versus Villains, which was the first big run of the show's whole history, monumental anniversary season, and he felt like a huge get then, back in 2010. I remember being so excited to see Colby again in 2010. A little bit less of a strong showing for him in Heroes versus Villains, even though he makes it all the way to 5th place. He was known in Survivor the Australian Outback for being he was like the original Captain America, challenge beast. Like he won 5 immunity challenges in a row, which is a record that still stands to this day. And super popular, went on and had random cameos in certain Hollywood movies and commercials and stuff like that. He was gonna ride Survivor to be to be a national superstar.
Colby
Didn't
was
quite work out that way for him, but he is absolutely a legend of the game, and we haven't seen him play in 15 years. And given how it went for him in Heroes versus Villains, like I said, he was not that great at challenges, generally a lot more sad and deflated personally. I think he went and said at the reunion show that in his first 2 seasons it felt more like an adventure where he could go and just explore and live life and just be out in the wild and I don't know, do all that. And then in Heroes versus Villains it was really bogged down with idols and the just really fast-paced aggressive gameplay, and it just wasn't the same for him. And so I thought we were done with Colby forever. So when I saw that he was back on this season, 15 years since we've seen him play again, I don't know, it really caught me by surprise. So yeah, Will,
It caught me by surprise.
Yeah. Will, I hear you're really
I'm
into
so
seeing
excited
Colby again this season.
I'm not a fan of the archetype. I'm generally not a fan of just the straight shooter, all American hero. Let's go. But I am so excited to see Colby Donaldson back because we all saw Heroes versus Villains. That was not a good showing for him. And especially a guy like Colby getting called Superman in a fat suit. I'm so excited. I really hope he just gives the season his all. I really hope he plays as hard as he can and he hits the ground running. I don't think he's going to go far. I think he's going to get picked up early as an early boot. I think, he just doesn't have the muscle left in him like he did, 20 years ago. He's a little older now. He's got weak knees like some of the folks in this call. And at the same time, at the same time, I just really hope that this is a good showing for Colby because the storyline would be so sick. At the same time, I still wish we had Jerry Manthe with Colby. I see the comments, and I agree with you all. Jerry should have been on season 50.
Colby without Jerry is just wrong.
I don't get the Colby hate where everyone's like, why is Colby back? This guy was a legend. He was huge 20 years ago. I'm excited for him. I'm so excited.
Abraham, let's hear.
You know what? What's funny is Will wasn't born when I watched Colby play. So we can go. You can put you at Kobe Bryant. But here's the thing: when Colby came out in season 2, he was a rock star. He was one of the players everybody was like, yeah, if I play Survivor, Colby, who's I'm going to emulate. He was a straight shooter, fair player, played a game. Then he came back and played again. He was like, okay, Colby's back. He got something to prove. And you're right. He seemed like he got to All-Stars. And again, it's a lot to unpack when you start playing back-to-back seasons. And he just looked like he was deflated from the first day of the game. Like the first day was like, oh, we got to sleep outside. I mean, you knew and you know what you're getting into. But when you get there, I want to see Colby react to it as like, okay, 26 days, I'm locked in and I'm about to play again. And I'm going to show these young players out here what it was to play back in my era. That's the type of Colby I would like to see.
Yeah.
Now, is that what we're going to get? I'm not sure because Colby last showing, like you said, wasn't great. Then here's the funny part. Colby only lives like 45 minutes from me. He lives in
Oh
Austin.
yeah,
I'm in
he's a
San
Texas
Antonio.
guy.
Yeah. So no, I can't find him. Austin is not that small. So, but hopefully he comes out there with that same charm, that same Kobe, Texas bravado, and we see Kobe. If he gets the first 2 days and it's like, man, why did I come back out here? Hey, I'm online talking about Kobe. Get on up out of here.
See, I feel like the fact that Colby said yes, that he wants to play again, shows that he has something to prove, or at the very least to himself. Because if he, had a miserable experience in Heroes versus Villains, and I can see why Jeff or production would call him back up and be like, "Hey, come back and play," and he'd be like, "No, I'm gonna go live my life." But the fact that he wants to do this, I don't know. I think that it makes me feel like at least a little bit hopeful that he's going to have more fight in him this time than we saw last time.
We all want that call. Look, go back just a few seasons in a new era where we had some players that got the call and they quit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like the calling will quit. It's when you get out there, he's like, ooh,
but Colby knows
this ain't it.
Colby knows the experience though. He's after Heroes versus Villains, he knows that the game is different and the game has changed. So I don't know. He's no Hannah Rose. He's not going to quit over a vape stick.
Yeah, and he
so we name dropping now.
He still made it 37 days in Heroes versus Villains, even though he was like decidedly like not having fun.
And he was giving 10 days. I'm gonna give him 10 days in this one.
I think that he I think that he's gonna come with a little bit more fight because he knows what it's like. He knows what it's like to have that incredible experience that's like life-changing, one vote short of winning the whole thing, but it did like launch him into at least a little bit of a phase of his career in Outback. And then he knows what it's like to come back in All-Stars, have a huge target on your back, be like that alpha guy that everybody's out to get, and get voted off like a little bit earlier than anticipated, so a little bit more of a disappointing experience. Then he also knows what it's like to make it far but not have fun, to be defeated, to be just like have the wind sucked out of your sails. So knowing all of that, knowing all of those experiences, like I feel like he is more prepared coming in.
Better suited for the game. We'll see.
Yeah. And let's also not forget that Heroes versus Villains that filmed in, I think it was like summer of 2009. So that was 16 years before this. So that, again, not quite as long as Jenna Lewis, but that is a long time since playing again. That is a whole life lived, since the last time he played.
I was barely speaking by then.
Is that you're gonna use kids reference until we get to when you were born?
until we get to about Rizzo is when that's more my speed.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I remember I didn't watch. I didn't come into Survivor until after Colby's first 2 seasons, but I watched Heroes versus Villains live. I was it was the spring before I left for college. And I just remember then like understanding like the lore and like the gravity associated with Colby. And I don't know if it's like as heavy now for a lot of these players, especially ones who are like really recent. Like, I don't know if they're going to give him that same sort of like awe and reverence.
Does he have an IG account? Let's see. You'd be like, back then, you had to go places to see them. Like CBS used to have them on the carpet.
Oh yeah.
They were different. You had to go to them. They weren't as accessible are they now. And I think that's part of the game as well, because social media can be crippling to players now. So much backlash on social media. Well, that wasn't there. So even when the show starts to air, how he view that? Well, we see Colby out as season 50 kicks off. Rizzo and the rest of them, we saw them out. We could go places, events, and we would see them there. Where we see these players like Cirie, I met her in New York a couple of times. Where we see those players out promoting Survivor 50 like the players that are 41 and ahead did.
Yeah, I mean, I see Jenna and Steph and Cirie and people who haven't talked about it yet tonight, but like I see some of them like doing a lot of promotion, and like Ozzy doing a lot of hyping up Survivor, hyping up season 50. I don't know if that's really Colby's jam. It wasn't in 2010 where he was like, I don't know who any of these people are. I don't know what their relationships are. I'm sure even more so. He is not.
It's gonna be interesting to see him
Yeah.
play then.
Yeah, I'm
Oh, yeah.
again at the very least interested. I don't know if I would have if he would have been like a top
Try to
choice for
see.
me, especially without Jerry. But I think that it's undeniable. Like he is like one of the OG like faces of the whole show. Like who knows if Survivor would be as popular as it is now without seasons 1 and 2. So I'm glad that we have Colby there as well.
Yeah.
Any final words on Colby?
I gotta go look up and see what tribe he's on.
He's on Vatu. He's with Q. So if nothing else, guys, we're getting Q and Colby on the same tribe.
Yeah,
And people still don't want Colby on? Hello?
Colby is on Vatu, which is like
I
the
go with
pink
Kyle and
tribe.
Kobe before I go with. That's gonna
And
be funny.
he is with Rizzo, Q, Kyle, Genevieve, Angelina, Steph, and Aubrey. And then Jenna
Yeah.
for reference.
I just want to see who's gonna sit on the beach and talk to each other. That's what I want to wait and see. Who's gonna be
I
on the
know.
beach talking to each other?
To be a fly on the wall, man.
Jenna is on the Orange Tribe with Joe, Christian, Ozzy, Rick, Emily, Cirie, and Savannah. So
I like
moving
that one better.
on. The tribe breakdowns, which officially released today, definitely give us a whole lot to speculate about. So, going from one of Colby's Heroes versus Villains tribe mates to one of his season 50 tribe mates in Stephanie LaGrossa Kendrick. Steph played originally in season 10, Palau, where she came in 7th place and famously became the first ever and only ever tribe of one, where her tribe lost every single immunity challenge to the point where it became just her. She was so wildly popular that they brought her back for the very next season, the first time that they brought back returning players to play with new players. More successful in terms of finding her footing in the game, but ultimately did not play a winning game for the jury vote. Came in 2nd place, losing pretty handily in the final 2 to Danny Boatwright. Then off the radar for a little bit, but then when Heroes versus Villains rolled around, she was another one where it's like, okay, we're doing this 10-year anniversary season, getting some of the biggest names of Survivor. Steph was an absolute slam dunk. She was like a must get for that season. She was one of I think 8 or 9 people from Heroes versus Villains to be playing for the 3rd time. And so she came back, was in a lot of the preseason like promo tour, but ultimately was not on the right side of the numbers. She was with Colby and Tom, kind of outnumbered by a lot of players who had played more recently. And ultimately, I think, Cirie and Candace were the people who were kind of like in the middle, but Tom and Cirie had kind of a major power struggle going on. So when the push came to shove, Steph being with Tom and Colby, ironically enough, led to her demise, and she got voted off 2nd. And then we haven't seen her again on Survivor, at least. She did do Snake in the Grass and the Traders a few years ago, which was a fun little return for her. But yeah, here we are seeing Steph for the first time also on Survivor in 16 years. Steph was she was my first ever favorite Survivor player ever. I think her journey in Palau and Guatemala, from being the underdog, hero story that everybody was rooting for and everybody could get behind, to someone who maybe was not received as well when she was in a more powerful position. And they showed a little bit more of her jagged edges in Guatemala, but I found that both sides of her were so compelling and so fun to watch, and it made her just this really interesting and fun presence for the show that I always was so bummed. I think her getting voted off 2nd in Heroes versus Villains is one of the most upsetting early exits for me, especially at the time. But she is back for the first time in 16 years. And so I'm excited to see how this goes. Will, how do you see this going with her, from a story perspective, given that she had 2 very different experiences her first 2 times playing?
Yeah, I think she's very lucky that people still really remember Stephanie from her experience in Palau. A lot of her villainous streaks that we saw in Guatemala, no one really brings up, because Guatemala is a season that, only the hipsters really love. Shout out to you, by the way, anyone who loves Guatemala. I notice y'all. And so she has that going with her. The only thing I'm really afraid of with Stephanie is that she can have a mean streak, and she does kind of beef with people. And I think that is something where when there's a lot of people and no one wants to be an early boot, especially in a Legends season like Survivor 50, I see her as being someone who could potentially be a very early boot as long as she can make the connections. Because I also just don't really know who on her tribe she can really get along with, but I also can't really say the same about Colby either. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Stephanie or her chances, but she is someone to prove people wrong. And so I think that people not really estimating her highly will, light a fire under her, kind of like Colby and Jenna as well. And a lot of these just old school players who tapped out after Heroes versus Villains.
Yeah. One thing before I hand it over to Abraham that I've noticed over the last several years is that because Palau and Guatemala are not as relevant in the grand scheme of Survivor as far as returnees go, like we only see, we see Steph and Bobby John come back for Guatemala, but from Palau, it's just Steph and Tom and Heroes versus Villains, and then Danny comes back for Winners at War. All of them go early in their returnee seasons other than in Guatemala. So a lot of times when people are like, catching up on the show afterwards, like there's a lot of people who either don't watch Palau or Guatemala, or they just like, kind of breeze through them and kind of skip over it. But I think without watching them, it's easy to miss the fact that Steph was so wildly popular back in 2005 through 2010 because of that. And like looking back on it now, it's like, okay, she played 2 seasons like 20 years ago, like, but what's the big deal? She comes back for Heroes versus Villains, get voted off right away. So when I remember I saw a commentary on the internet about like when she was on the Traders, they're like, why do they have her? She's such a random choice. And it was like, no, you clearly were not around. You don't understand the impact that she had on Survivor. Hugely significant figure of the first 10 years of the show. That if you're only got into the show like since 2010, then it's easy to miss the impact that she's had. So Abraham, have you come across Steph in any of these alumni events that you've done in recent years?
A couple of times. Had a chance to meet her, talk to her. She still got that fire. She still got that grit. You'll never forget when she came back and got her shoulder dislocated. And she was like, nah, pop it back in. I got to go back to work. And they popped it back in. She was like, no, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
That's a Survivor player.
Yeah.
You got to remember now, when they was in Guatemala and all these other places, they also had to play against the 19th element, which was the island, the environment, everything else. And as it changes, how you play changes. If you're playing in rain or something like that, I think she was a perfect choice to represent the legacy of Survivor. Yeah, you're right. We don't see much players after they played their season, but I'm not going to take anything from that last time she came out there and played, got their shoulder knocked out, and she was still ready to play. She comes in the game with that same fight in that tribe that she's on. I think Colby might be almost a shield, but I see her and Guinevere getting together and going forward in the game. Past the merge, I see that teaming up. So I think she's on the right tribe to come back and play a solid game. But is she physically ready? Yeah.
Yeah, I think
is she mentally ready? Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and say she's gonna be probably one of those players we look at and be like, okay, this is a good choice.
I think there's it's easy to look past what a absolute beast Steph was in the challenges and in the physical aspect of the game. And because, her tribe lost every immunity challenge in Palau, and then in both of her seasons, she only won one individual immunity challenge. But like, if you watch all of those tribe challenges, especially, she is an absolute force who, like, a lot of times they lost a challenge despite her, especially in Palau. She was, and like everybody was scared of her. Everybody was intimidated by her because she was so, she was just that good. And I think she definitely does still have that in her. Someone says in the comments that, Chris D says she also did quite well on the Traders. Yeah, she got 7th place in season 1 of the Traders. Ultimately, I think she was the last person to get murdered before like the last episode or second to last episode. But she, again, like did really well socially, was never really like on anyone's radar, did not like, nobody was like trying to banish her. It wasn't until the very, very end that she got murdered when there weren't that many options left. But she did great. And the type of people that go on the traders, especially season 1, is like very different than the type of people that go on Survivor. And socially, she did great with all of them. So I don't know. I think while Heroes versus Villains was really disappointing for her and for me as a fan, I really think that this is going to be a much better showing.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if she has the I don't know if I would be surprised if she won, but I would not be surprised at all if she makes a deep run and gets like a single digit placement for this season. I think that she's absolutely still got it.
I think she's on the right tribe. I like her with Kyle and Genevieve, and I like my man Q, but I don't know what kind of Q we getting, and I ain't on that review, so I'm not gonna say anything about which kind of Q we getting this time is gonna be the real question. But
I know
I think she's on the perfect tribe.
Q is a major roll of the dice, and I think that is going to be like, okay, is Q going to have power and influence? And if he does, who is he going to like set his eyes on? And if does Steph end up in his good side or not? She's also on the same tribe as Aubrey, and we also know how Q feels about Aubrey. So I don't know. Maybe Steph will be okay there. But I think that
wait a minute, hold on. Steph did say Q text her or sent her a message and then never respond.
I saw that video.
So she was like, my first boot would be Q. So she already put that out there. Her first boot would be Q. So I don't see them working together.
Both Steph and Aubrey, I think, said that in for Entertainment Weekly. They had a video where they all said who they were going to be voting on.
Q was on it.
Q's on a lot of people's first boot lists.
Yes.
I think that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think with Q there, with Kyle, who's a former winner, Colby, who probably is not going to be as much of a physical asset as Steph is, and then Rizzo, who's a total wild card and also not a good at the challenges. Like, I think that Steph will. I see her at least like making it to the swap whenever like a swap comes for this season. I see her making out of this first iteration of the tribe. Okay,
I see that. I don't know how much. The problem is, it's just there's so many good players on the tribe where it's like Q goes, and then after that, like who's the next easy person? It could be Colby. I could see it being Rizzo. I could see it being Stephanie. Or Angelina.
The thing I'm honestly most worried about is Genevieve being like, how we saw her a couple times just kind of like scanning the crowd and being like, okay, everyone's saying, people are scared of you, but like I think you're the real threat here. And she kind of like rallied the troops to have that happen like a couple times in her season. And that's the thing that makes me most nervous. As a fan of Steph going into season 50, I think Genevieve being on the wrong side of Genevieve is the thing that gives me the most pause.
Genevieve might have went further if she didn't hitch her train to
Rome.
To Rome.
I don't know. I think we can get more to that when we talk about Genevieve in a couple weeks. But I think that's the one. I think if there's someone on that original tribe who's going to like maybe be dangerous to Steph, like Genevieve is the one that kind of gives me the most pause there.
We're gonna see. Either they're gonna be together or apart.
Yes, we will see. Any final words on Steph?
No.
Man, I am so excited.
Hope her shoulder's good.
Yes, let's hope so. I'm sure she is still in tip-top shape, so I'm sure she'll be great. So, moving on from Steph, going to another Heroes versus Villains / the Traders / Snake in the Grass tribe mate is Cirie Fields. Cirie is undoubtedly one of the biggest names in the show's history. Coming on first in season 12, she was kind of seen as the woman who got up off the couch. She was the lovable fan favorite who ends up being an absolute what did she call herself? A gangster in an Oprah suit later on. But she is an absolute boss at the game of Survivor. Like, making it. She got 4th place season 12, 3rd place season 16. She gets voted off early, when they're splitting the vote, and then JT flips on her in Heroes versus Villains. That's her only early exit ever. Then Queen Cirie. She's comes back Game Changers, gets 6th place, then plays Survivor Australia versus the World, where she gets 4th place, but she won the original season of the Traders. She did a season of Big Brother, which was like not a very good experience for her at all, but still she made it, I think 5th place, I believe. So she's like, she makes it, she's right there every time she plays these games. She's known for, even though she's like not strong in challenges at all, she still can just work her way in socially, be on everybody's good side, like win herself over with her, with her charm, with her smile, with her laugh. everybody just wants to be friends with her. They want to be on her good side, and she's pulled off some of the like craziest moves we've seen in the show's history, from someone who's like really unsuspecting, because people are like, oh, it's Cirie,
Yeah.
you know, we love her, she wouldn't hurt us. And that, you know, the same thing happened on the Traders, and she got them all. Yeah, Cirie is someone who I think there's a lot of people who are saying that you know, do we really need to see her play for like a 5th, 6th time? But I don't know. I think Cirie is someone who always has something new up her sleeve, always is bringing a fun and fresh perspective to the game. So I have no problem at all with her playing for you know, 5th, 6th time, depending on how you count Australia. So, Will, how do you see Cirie expanding her story here?
I mean, the only way she could really expand on her story is by winning, but at the same time, like, I don't know, nothing Cirie can do in the season will change the legend that she is. Like, I feel the most at peace with wherever she goes. She could be first boot for all I care, because we still have 5 seasons of Cirie Fields dominating and being one of the best to never win. And like, people argue all the time with Boston Rob winning on his 4th try. People can make that argument against Cirie to knock her down a peg. So I don't really care. If she wins, it's awesome. You know, she wins the landmark season of Survivor. There's like no better end to a storyline with that. But like, you know, I feel like Cirie Fields will always be Cirie Fields. She will always be that legend. And so I'm not too worried. I'm not worried about Cirie Fields. And I think she's going to make a deep run anyways, regardless. She's always going to make like final 6. We know this. We know the story. Come on.
If we count Australia and if we count Big Brother, the only time she ever did not make the final 6 was in Heroes versus Villains, which you would think that I remember, you know, so she was her very first season. She's on a tribe of older women. They lose the first challenge. There's only 4 of them. You'd think she's dead in the water, but she actually rallies the other women around to vote off who's the strongest, toughest, like most outdoorsy out of them all. Martina was her first victim ever. And then we just see her like, you know, work her way into the majority, like play a masterful game in Panama, lose because of just a really unfortunate chain of events with like Terry having a overpowered idol that still is good at the final 4, and then Aris winning immunity so that the votes were put on her instead of Aris, and then she lost the fire making tiebreaker. You know, does even better despite the fact that she came in with a big reputation. Does even better in season 16, makes the final 3 that everyone was planning on it being, you know, final 3-person final tribal council. Then, you know, surprise final 2, she loses the challenge, gets cut. So just with that huge reputation of doing super well twice, I thought she was completely dead in the water going into Heroes versus Villains. But she found her way to the majority again. And still, you know, and only lost because it was, you know, there were 6 of them against Tom and Colby. So they were splitting 3-3 because Tom had an idol. But JT was like, I don't know, Cirie, she's like calling shots too much. And so with just one person flipping, you know, she gets taken out with like 3 votes out of 5. You know, and then we all know what happens in Game Changers where, you know, she gets taken out because everybody had an idol or an advantage. No votes cast against her. So she's never had like a straightforward elimination where people are just like, not really working with her. She's got to go. That's never happened once, which you'd think it would because she has the reputation that she does, but she hasn't. So, Abraham, have you met Cirie in your day?
Yes, met her a couple times. And she's just as
the you know the
just
allure
as
that she
nice and friendly, and just it's almost like a little circle. You feel like you're in a little circle with her, and I think that's going to be critical to how she plays season 50. I think bringing her back, especially how she ended her Survivor run. You know, it wasn't because she did a wrong move or anything. Everybody had everything, and everybody played everything. And then it came down to, only person that can be voted out is Cirie. She gets voted out that way. So to come back and get an opportunity to play in season 50 and to kind of atone for her, I mean, a masterful gameplay in every season she pretty much played in. And you're right. She's not going to be your physical threat. She's not going to be out there running, jumping, skipping, but she's always in the mix of the social side of Survivor. You don't have to be the best athlete to win Survivor. You just got to have a great social game. And she brings in that social element. Now, I will say this right here. She's interacted with a lot of the players from the new era of Survivor. She kind of knows them going into season 50, where some of the other players may have never even met or talked to the younger players that are in 41 going forward. So it's going to be kind of interesting how she navigates her tribe. So I think if she goes with Joe, if she combines with Joe, and I'm going to have to say Joe. I'm looking at him now. If Joe and Emily's a wild card, Savannah. If Joe and her and they kind of link up, they definitely make it pass to the merge.
Yeah.
So it's going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point with how she's been with, at some of these events, at all of this with these new era players. While we may not know if the new era players are going to have the sort of awe and reverence for Jenna or for Colby or for Steph, I think they absolutely have that for Cirie. I think they've met her, they've seen the charm, they see like how infectious like her personality is, like in a good way, and so they get it. They may not get it for the other ones, but I think I think every single person on this cast like gets the legend that is Cirie Fields.
Oh yeah,
I'm saying if you meet her in person, you'll be like, I understand why Cirie, how she plays and how she gets it for. Just all you got to do is meet her in person one time. You'll be like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
See, I've met some Survivor players in real life who I've had that experience with, where I'm like, oh wow, I get why you were cast on the show. You're like so fun, you're so charming, whatever. And these are like, kind of, no offense, I'm not naming any names, but like they're not like huge names in the show's whole history. They're like, people who are like, they were good in their season, but not like in the grand scheme of things didn't like make it anywhere near the splash that Cirie did. So if I feel this way about like random people I've met that have played, I just can't imagine, what it's like to be in that circle with Cirie.
Especially in the game too.
When she wants something from you, or like, and you can
deliver. I'd be like, all right, here you go, Cirie. Here's all my info.
I mean, like I said, meeting her in person, you get the idea of how a game evolves, and then you're trying to stop being pulled into that circle.
Oh yeah,
and you're like, well, how am I getting pulled into this circle? You're like, no, this is the circle I need to be in. So it's going to come down. These tribe dynamics are going to be critical to who makes it to merge. And I always tell, I always say Survivor's played in two parts: before the merge, after the merge. Right now, these are some great players that have their own strategies. I think she comes in with a team mentality. You got to find at least one. And I think for her, I think Joe would be a great one for her. But it's gonna be who has enough trust when we kick off on day one of that island to take me to the merge and then take me over to the other side.
Yeah. Not just that too, but like working with Cirie is a winning strategy. All of her allies, except in Heroes versus Villains, have Parv won twice working with Cirie, Aris won working with Cirie. Like that is just more incentive for them to work with Cirie, which is just easy money for her.
Yep. Well, here's a pushback. Some players have never seen those seasons. They have no idea.
Okay, but like if you're going on Survivor 50 and you're not watching everyone and like seeing what's going on, then why are you on? Like,
well, what I will say is I think that a lot of these people understand the value of a shield in this game. And I think that everybody probably is seeing Cirie as someone as like, oh yeah, Cirie will be a great ally, because if we get down to like final 6, final 5 and Cirie's still there, like people are going to be looking to vote her off and not me. So I think there is a lot of people who would be incentivized to like keep her around.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to tell where they got voted out in their previous times on Survivor. I think that everybody knows that they played Survivor coming back in. And where do we land on this? Because it's an older group of players, it's a middle group of players, and then there's a younger group. And like Riz, who's Riz going to really go with in a younger group of players? Because really, I think he probably is the youngest player of this season.
Oh yeah. I mean, but on Cirie's tribe, like she's with even like the newer players that she's with, like Devins and Christian and Joe are all like, at least like late 30s or 40s. So the only like truly like younger people on her tribe are Emily and Savannah. So
Yeah.
I don't even think age wise on her tribe there's going to be that much of a like, that much. Yeah, it's overcome.
Her name's 45. Ozzy is 45. I think Ozzy might be the oldest. No.
No, Cirie's the oldest, and she's 50. Yeah, Rick Devins 55. I think is early 40s. Jenna's late 40s. 55. Joe is late 40s. Christian is right around 40, I think.
He's 39.
Yeah. So you have Savannah and Emily who are in their like late 20s, early 30s, and that's that's it. But Cirie, I mean, we've seen her work with like all sorts of people. Like I mean, both in Big Brother and in Australian Survivor, we see people that like love her so much that are like, I will lose this game so that you can win. But like take me with you. Which like, if I were in the Reserve Savannah spot, if I had gotten on season 49 and played that, like I shamelessly would have been like, all right, Cirie, if I don't win this game, the next best thing is you winning this game. So I want to be at the end of this game with you.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know. I don't see any of these people on her tribe doing that, but if they cared about us as fans, they would do that.
If they did, they care. They care.
I'm curious how she's going to interact with Emily. I think they are going to be very interesting together. And so,
hey, look, Emily is in person. She is funny as all get out.
Yeah,
she is a man. She's like the person you want to hang out with at the club. So I don't really. That's gonna be interesting. I'm with you.
The one I'm nervous about is I listened to today. So Sharon Tharp, who's another person who. A journalist who covers these shows, she hosted her interview with Jenna Lewis today, and Jenna said she was like really wary of Cirie and was like, definitely had her eyes on Cirie and wanted to target her right away. I'm like, oh no, Jenna, don't do it, please. Like, I want you guys to get along. This is not gonna. And if you do go against her first, like this probably isn't gonna go well for you. So
I don't know. Maybe it's due time. Maybe Jenna takes the shot because Jenna does that.
Would you want to take it on the first vote out when? I would take out. Here's the thing about it is with the players from 49. Did they know? Because I think there's a 9-day gap between them filming or starting to film 50. Do they know that they have a winner on their tribe, which makes a difference?
I think a lot of them are piecing it together. I've heard some of them say that in the brief like pre-show stuff that they had, but also they see that like Kyle's on one tribe and D's on the other. So I think that people are seeing that. Okay, it would make sense if Savannah were 2 of 1. Like a Christian.
Well, they can say because Rizzo's not there, so they know one of them is going to be the winner. Because you've seen probably Kyle's season before you went to go film yours, so they know the winner
like immediately before.
Yeah. But and Savannah may be
not long before that. I think people I think will piece together that Savannah probably won season 49.
Yeah. I think D gonna be underground.
Yeah,
I mean, I would.
We'll get to her in a couple weeks too. So. So moving on from, any final words on Cirie?
No, I can't.
When she's first boot, I'm gonna laugh so hard.
Will is not a good.
Not be so. That would be losing Natalie Anderson first in Winners at War was devastating enough.
She came back.
I know, it's not the same, but like I can't have that again. Back-to-back All-Star seasons. Oh man.
It wasn't the same.
Okay, so moving on from Cirie, who I am so excited to see play again. Again, gripes. Well, you can have all your gripes with the cast you want. I'm just like so happy that we at least have Cirie here. But also with Cirie is someone else that people are really excited to see again in Ozzy. Ozzy, who has played. This is his 3rd time on Cirie's starting tribe, funnily enough. But yes, Ozzy, first seen in season 13, Cook Islands, where he was the runner-up, losing by 1 vote. Then he also came back for Survivor Micronesia with Cirie, where he came in 9th place. Was blindsided. Was one of the first people to ever get voted off with an idol in his pocket. Then Ozzy comes back for Survivor South Pacific as one of the captains, like with Coach, where he gets voted off 3 times that season because of Redemption Island twist, ultimately coming in 4th place, and then plays with Cirie again in Survivor Game Changers, where he gets voted off. The 2nd member of the jury in 12th place. So 4 times, but it's been Game Changers was that aired in spring of 2017. So 9 years ago, 9 years since we've seen Ozzy play Survivor. But here he is back for the 5th time. So Will, how do we see Ozzy moving on with his story this season?
Coach me Ozzy, according to Chris in the chat, and also Bryce. Bryce. Also called me Ozzy, by the way. Shout out to you, Bryce. Thank you for that. Ozzy, I can't wait for him to do the same exact thing he's always been doing. Catch a lot of fish, win challenges, get voted out right at merge. Oh, like that is his game plan, and that is what he's been doing. I just want change from Ozzy. That's all I want, because his last few appearances have been the same. I did like South Pacific. I love South Pacific as a season. Him being one challenge away and losing it after getting voted out intentionally to win the challenges is nothing short of just like a masterpiece. It's pure cinema, right? But I don't have a lot of hopes for Ozzy. I hope he changes things up. I hope he plays a different game, but like it doesn't not work, but it also never works because he can make merge really easily, and I think he will again, unless like people are like really playing hard. And he's going to enter like some majority alliance because everyone wants to work with Ozzy, but like he just doesn't have the best social or strategic game or the ability to lie. And those are like things you want in Survivor. So I don't know. I'm not feeling too hot about Ozzy right now.
You will run over somebody with a steamboat when you want to. I tell you, Will.
Abraham, what about you? How do you see Ozzy coming back for the first time in almost?
See, here's the thing. When you're part of the family of Survivor, we get to meet each other. And when we meet each other, I size them up. I'll be like, hey, if I play with him, what would be the outcome if I played with him?
Yeah.
He gonna have to make it past 10 days for me to even consider Ozzy as a threat. Matter of fact, I'm gonna give him 5 days. If he can make it 5 days in Fiji, I'll be like, okay, Ozzy's legit. But here's the thing about it is, you go on with your life, and Ozzy's going on with his life. And in his life, he's older. When we first saw Ozzy, or when I first saw Ozzy play, he was climbing up coconut trees.
Yeah, I think he was like 24, 25.
Yeah, he was climbing up coconut trees, knocking coconuts down. He was like a fish in water on the water challenges. He was the challenge threat of his seasons. Well, it ain't the same Ozzy. You got other players, you got younger players, and I'm with Will. Where does Ozzy fit? His name does carry recognition for season 50. I'll give Ozzy all the credit for his name, carried recognition. But I want to see, he's probably one of the few players I want to see the maturity in of his game when you can't climb up that pineapple tree anymore. I mean, that coconut tree. You can't get up there. You're just like, ooh, I might, hey. Oh, and I seen Ozzy fall one time. So, and he just got, did he pour out the knee surgery or something he had to get done? So you're not going to be trying to risk a lot of stuff like you did when you were in your 20s. So if his social game is on point, I think we're going to see a good season. But I've also seen him headbutt with Cirie. So I don't know if he goes after her or he aligns with her to say, okay, let's work together. We got to pass. Or, hey, you're on your own. It's going to be interesting how his game in the new era works out. He's one of the players I'm concerned about in the new era. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, Abraham, you bring up his relationship with Cirie. I mean, like I said, this is the third time that they're on the same starting tribe together. First time they were in an alliance together initially, but after the merge is when, the Black Widow Brigade, the alliance of all the women, comes together.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
They recognize Ozzy, who he had the idol, and he was like the biggest threat. And where they're just like, if we let this guy get to the end, he's going to win. And I remember everyone seeing, Jason Siska as like the obvious person to boot. Cirie says famously, like, now would be a prime opportunity to get rid of the idol and Ozzy. And that's what they do. And Ozzy does not take it well. So I was really nervous when they were on the same tribe. I was nervous for Cirie and Survivor Game Changers when they were on the same tribe together. But they never went to, Cirie didn't go to tribal council at all before the merge. But then when the merge rolls around, they kind of come up with like two warring sides where they're each side is kind of like rallying their troops. Ozzy and Cirie are on the same side, and Ozzy, granted that nothing really happens because Ozzy gets voted off, like the second person after the merge to get voted off, but they were on the same side of the vote. They were like in the same alliance, sort of like, not that it only lasted like a couple days, but it seemed like they had buried the hatchet enough to at least be on the same side, and they were not actively gunning for one another.
I'm trying to see if I ever see them together. I don't think because
in real life,
Ozzy's on the West Coast and Cirie's on the East Coast.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure maybe at one of these things they've cross
No.
paths, but
Yeah. Look, no.
I would imagine that I would imagine that the two of them are probably at least like kind of they're okay.
Everybody's sociable.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's
Well-
sociable. Well, let me rephrase that. No, because
Like I don't see Ozzy and Coach. I don't see them as being like good. But I think Cirie and Ozzy are probably good.
Well, Cirie didn't even come up with the plan too. That was not her plan to vote out Ozzy. So like she had nothing to do with Ozzy's blindside in Micronesia. Like, you know.
Well, she's the one who'd said like now would be a good time to get rid of the Idol and Ozzy, but that was 17 years ago, or 18 years ago now. So I think, you know, and then they had a better experience since then, and you know, it's been a long time. But the thing about Ozzy that is like his whole legacy to me is that he is someone who he's a fan favorite because he's really good at the challenges and he's good at like fishing and climbing trees and stuff like that. And there's like a ton of the audience that really eats that up.
The knees is gone, dog. Hey, Josh, them knees is gone.
I know. So that's the thing. So while I think Cirie is this really capable, adaptable player, I think Ozzy's whole appeal to the viewer is what he can do physically, like in challenges and swimming and climbing trees. And like, I just don't see him doing that in the same way. And granted, you know, in South Pacific, he did kind of like take some more swings strategically and was a little bit more of like a, I don't know, a little bit more of like an agitator in the game, which was, I guess, you know, like more interesting than he had been like in previous seasons. But he, I still think mainly he's like a challenge outdoor fishing kind of guy. And in Game Changers, that, you know, which was already a, you know, more fast-paced, fluid, advantage-heavy game, he kind of fell by the wayside. I think he had like less than 10 confessionals all season, even though he like made the jury. So I'm really curious. You know, I don't like hate that he's like on this season, but I am unsure like what new things he has to add to his overall Survivor.
We could have got somebody. We could have got somebody out of the 49 seasons we played. Not taking anything from Oz because I met him, cool guy. But
yeah, everybody says he's really great in real life, and I believe that.
Oh yeah, he look Oz. Now, if we wanted to get an Oz-like player, I mean, we've had players that would fit that mold and give us, but the name recognition, because Oz been around and he's been in different seasons, we might have had the same name recognition. But he got it because of the fact that he was climbing up coconut trees. He could do great in challenges. He could swim. I mean, he was checking off all those blocks in. But we got to remember now, that's Oz of yesterday. We're gonna see what Oz of today look like. And I think if his social game is up a couple more levels, I think he's gonna do well. But it's gonna be interesting in that first 2 or 3 tribal votes. But not go to tribal council early.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I am really interested to see how he fits on there. I think he'll probably be fine surviving the first few because I don't think he's going to have quite the target on him that like someone like Cirie or Joe or Savannah would. And he's like not as like, I don't know. I don't see him like causing as much of a ruckus like personality wise as someone like Jenna or like Rick Devens might. But yeah, I don't know if Ozzy has, even though he was super close to winning twice, like I think those were very specific circumstances that allowed that to happen. I just don't know if Ozzy has what it takes, especially these days, to play a winning game of Survivor.
Here's something that's funny tidbit. They sent me Rick Devens' audition tape to do my audition tape, to put it together. It was Rick Devens. I was like,
oh, that's funny.
So when you got to do when you got to do the 5-minute video for the casting folks, they send you examples of it so you know this is kind of what they're looking for. And Rick Devin was one of mine. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's cool. Well, one final thing about Ozzy is that he is I think he's the only person. Sorry, gotta keep.
That's Will. Man. Forget about Will, man.
No, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Josh.
All right. One thing about Ozzy is that he is, I believe, the only person to go 4 for 4 and making the merge every single time he's played. Yeah, no, he is. Like of all the people who played 4 times, all of them went pre-merge at least once, except for Ozzy. So I'm got that going. I think he's gonna make it 5 for 5. Like I don't know if he's gonna go like deep into the game, but I think I see him making the merge again.
I think I met him the
He's
first time
the
about
best
5 years
burgers
ago, 4 years ago. First time I ever met him. It was in
Oh,
LA.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice guy.
I was sizing him up too.
I wonder how I'm excited for Ozzy to come back.
Yeah,
Because it makes people mad. And I'm Team Chaos.
Is that-
I want
is that
Ozzy to
it?
win.
I think I'm at least interested, because it's been 10 years. Like, while I don't think that he has like a ton that's like new to add to his story, I would take him over someone who we just saw like a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. So, any final words on Ozzy?
No, let's see what he turns out to be.
Yeah, let's see
When
what
he
he turns
votes
out to
Cirie
be.
out first, I'm gonna laugh so hard.
Oh, if he
What
votes
the
Cirie out
world?
first, oh my gosh, I won't be able to
I
handle
don't think that's gonna happen, but we'll be all right.
Okay, so moving on to Ozzy's South Pacific counterpart / rival, if you will, is we have Coach Wade, Benjamin Coach Wade. Originally played in Survivor Tocantins, where he finished 5th place. Had one of the biggest edits in Survivor history up to that point as a huge, larger-than-life character that had all sorts of crazy stories and, had this very grand persona that he put on. Comes back again in Heroes versus Villains. Just a year later, it becomes the first member of the jury, finishing in 12th place. Didn't do as well that time, but still kind of left a splash. And then the following year, he comes back again for a captain style season. They had bring back Boston Rob versus Russell for Survivor Redemption Island. And then even though that was one of the worst seasons ever, they decided, let's run it back, except to do the exact same thing again, except this time with Coach and Ozzy. And now, I guess 15 years later, it is getting its payoff as both Coach and Ozzy are back for season 50. Coach did much better that time from a gameplay point of view, where he ran that whole season with his alliance with Sophie and Albert. But I think he ends up losing a jury vote 6-3. And I think a big part of that was because he wasn't able to fully own up to, his shenanigans during the game. And he was still trying to play the honor and integrity card. And people wanted him to just own it. They wanted him to own what he was doing. But still, he showed his chops as a player in season 23 that we had not seen in the prior 2 seasons. But yes, it was a lot of Coach in a short amount of time. I mean, Tocantins was aired spring of 2009. Heroes versus Villains was spring of 2010. South Pacific was fall of 2011. So that is 3 times in less than 3 years that we see Coach play Survivor. And then we haven't seen him since then, taking about a 15-year break before he comes back now for season 50. So, Will, you said you're a big South Pacific guy. So
I love South Pacific.
Tell us, what are you looking forward to with this iteration of Coach?
So Coach is the only person on Survivor 50 that I've had the fortune to do a podcast with. And the thing about Coach that he told me, and I think Jack Powell was there, shout out to Jack, was that he always kind of prepares and does something a little different with each season, right? So season 1, he was just coach, or his first season, Tocantins, he was just coaching it up, being that guy, one of the best characters we've seen, bar none, in Survivor history. And he wanted to be way more thoughtful in Heroes versus Villains. He was way more cerebral with his coachiness. He had that weird moment with Tyson where he's like, why doesn't anyone like me? And he tried approaching the game differently. And he also worked out and got prepared physically for Survivor 20. Okay, that's why he bodied Colby in the first challenge. None of this Colby slander no more. And in his next season, he wanted to take a more of a strategic approach. And I'm very afraid of Coach because I think he's going to get eaten alive in his tribe. I don't see it being a good configuration for Coach.
Oh yeah.
But Coach is kind of magical. He does have the aura about him where you just kind of want to listen because he is just genuinely insane about a lot of the things. And I think he gets better at Survivor with each season. Like, he has improved looking at it strictly as a player. And I kind of want to see him run back his South Pacific game. I want to see him have that creepy alliance. I want him to run a cult again. That's all I want from Coach. That's what I'm hoping for.
Hey,
That would be. Sorry, Abraham, go ahead.
I'm like,
I
I
got
didn't even know what to
takes,
say
guys.
after he said all that. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Let me tell you,
Another
the one thing I do like about Coach, and I always say it in when I'm talking about Survivor and players and stuff, he formulated a group of players that went pretty deep in Survivor as a group. And everybody else has tried, but somebody's always fell off here or fell off there. But Coach and Jerry played together. I mean, it was a good season. I enjoyed watching it. I just don't know who in his tribe that's going to work with this time.
Yeah, so
I'm
for the
looking
record, he's on the Green Tribe with Jonathan, Mike White, Charlie, D, Camilla, Tiffany, and Chrissy.
I'm looking at the tribe and I'm like, who? Maybe Mike White. I don't know, but I don't see Coach having that aura in the new era Survivor with that particular tribe. I think he may come off as that guy and be like, "Ooh, that guy. Ooh, who is he again? Let's vote him out first."
Yeah, and I think that Camilla and Tiffany in particular have no time for that guy, as Abraham said.
Yeah, I'm like,
I mean, and he's come across a lot of, and again, it's often a lot of them are women, the people who kind of have no time for his shenanigans in his prior 3 seasons, and I just see. Yeah, D, Camilla, Tiffany, and Chrissy. Like, I do not see him getting a foothold with any of them.
I can see Chrissy on the fact that the tribe is a little younger. Like the gap between Jonathan and Coach, because like Jonathan is like the oldest of the younger crowd, right? Like Jonathan's 32,
Jonathan and
Coach
Tiffany. Jonathan's 32 and Tiffany's like 34. I think.
Oh, Tiffany's 34. Either way, it's still a big gap where I see the older people. I see Mike White, Chrissy, and potentially Coach coming together. And this might be a crazy take. I see them getting Charlie. I think Charlie could work with them because I think Charlie's going to be afraid of Girls Alliance with D, Camilla, and Tiffany potentially.
That is kind of what he did his first time around. So, that is an interesting take. That if it is age wise, I could see Charlie at the very least flocking towards Chrissy and Mike, and then as a result, like going with Coach as well. If it does end up going down by age,
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Coach was another one who he was on. A lot of people, that Dalton Ross from Entertainment Weekly, he posted that video of everyone like, who are you voting off first? And Coach came up like 3 or 4 times, I think, people saying they wanted to vote him off first.
For whatever reason, I didn't catch his 24 players.
Oh yeah, 24 players.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I just looked up there. I was like, oh, there's a lot of players.
Yeah, the biggest cast ever. They've never had a cast bigger than 20. And now they're doing it with 24.
Sometimes it's the era in which that you play that you kind of dominate. I think he was in an era where the Vulcan was a little more mature type. I'm not saying that anybody's immature, so I don't want anybody to take that out of context. They were older in their lives, had done some things, and then they came to play the game of Survivor. Where we have people now, they're just playing Survivor. They're young, they're just starting in either careers or their personalities are different. I'm just like Mike White. Is he gonna fit in there? I mean, that's an odd tribe. Jonathan is probably. I could see Jonathan and D working together. I don't know. Yeah. And the interesting thing about this, I met Jonathan, and I met D, Camilla, Tiffany. I've met and Charlie. I've met them as players, and I'm like, it's gonna be interesting. That's gonna be the most interesting downtime when they ain't doing nothing. Tribe. What are they going to talk about? Jonathan going fishing.
This is a very interesting mix of people on this tribe. And I think there's other draws that may have been more favorable for Coach. I just don't really see it working out for him too well in this tribe.
Like I'm going them off already.
I think the scenario that Will pointed out, I think is his best shot. But even that, I think that is like a lot of things would have to go right. For Coach to really gain some footing and like make a deep run on this tribe. Because if you remember, he played. I mean, heroes versus villains aside, like Token Chains and South Pacific were in the very like recruit heavy like era of casting, and so you have a lot of people who didn't really know Survivor, didn't really know what they're doing, and especially in South Pacific, where he and Ozzy come back as like these like tribe captains, and you have a lot more like young impressionable people. And it was like the older people on his tribe, like Christine and Stacy, who were like, "Oh no, forget this guy; he's a temporary player." But then everyone else like flocks to him, and then Christine and Stacy were the first two out from that tribe. And then he kind of just rode that the whole way, and he did it really well. But he did it with a lot of people who were, like Sophie was playing really, really well. By playing like with him and being able to like spin it to the jury, that was like really intentional and calculated from her part. But I think that the rest of the people that he's playing with were not playing anywhere near that level strategically. When you do have people on this tribe who like, you have Dee who won, you have Camilla who is like a really serious player, you have Mike who very well could have won his season, you had Charlie who almost won, you had Chrissy who almost won, you had Tiffany who's like an absolute force to be reckoned with. Like, you have a lot of like really smart, capable players on this tribe, and I just don't see them like falling for coaches.
I don't. Look, some of these tribes, you be like, okay. Ain't gonna be no way. Look, you be like, I'm not sure. This might be a Snickers commercials or Twix. I don't really know. I just think Jonathan might be the keynote speaker of that tribe in getting to the merge. And I think Dee and Camilla and Tiffany, I think they're going to know that. And I think we're going to put Charlie off on the other side. He's going to go with the other four. And I think that's going to be the breakdown of that tribe. I think it's going to be split from day one.
I personally think Coach's best shot is to ride Jonathan's challenge strength, and then also like Dee and Tiffany and Chrissy and Charlie, who are all like really good at challenges too. Like, ride them to the swap without having to go to tribal council, and then finding better footing, like greener pastures elsewhere. I think that is Coach's best path at surviving.
I think he can
out until a swap.
I think if he makes swap, which fun fact about Coach, he's never been in a season with a swap. Just trivia. Fun fact. I think if he makes swap, I think he can make a deep run. It's just the starting tribe is so bad for him right now. It's not looking good.
Let me tell you something. If I could go back and see my tribe before I got on, I'd be like, put me on the blue tribe.
Yeah.
I've actually put myself in the blue tribe with them.
Yeah, you are Coach Wade right now, pretty much, is what I'm
look. Hey, don't get me wrong, y'all. So I love y'all for life. But I'd have ditched y'all in a heartbeat for the blue tribe. Erica, let me come on over here.
Don't even know their name. Don't even know that's the Luvu tribe. Just calling them Luvu.
Man, look.
So
it's gonna be some interesting dynamics with these tribes. As much as I would have wanted some players that I'd be like, oh man, I would love to. You know what? This is gonna be like, pull the grenade, toss it in there. I know he done blackballed himself out of the Survivor community, but they should have thrown Russell Hands on there.
I think that ship sailed a long time.
Ooh, he done blackballed himself out of the community. Yeah, I look at some of his stuff sometime. I'll be like, come on, man. It's like 40 years later. Let it go.
I think we would all do well to just let it go with him. So
let it go.
Let it go.
Yeah. Any final words on Coach and how we see him doing this season?
Wild card.
Yeah. Wild card. I mean, he at the very least is an interesting and unique presence in Survivor history that, I'm interested to see how it goes. Again, probably not someone who I would have chosen to be on this season because I think we've kind of seen it with him, but I'm at the very least interested.
I want to see how it plays out. Again, that's what we want to see. Even though we may not like all the choices, we definitely want to see how it plays out. If we want some, I'd rather have some crazy TV than to be like, oh man, that's boring. No, let's get crazy. I think that's the right players.
Okay, so final thing I want to do for us tonight is of the 6 people that we discussed, I want us to call our shots. Like, who do we see going the farthest? Like, placing the best in season 50 out of the 6 people that we discussed tonight?
Jenna.
Will, why Jenna?
because I think her not being a big threat and being on 2 seasons where she was either not the biggest character or kind of forgotten in All Stars. And I think she is still savvy enough, and I think her gameplay can still translate really well. And I think she will be gunning after big fish. And I think the small threats would also be gunning after the big fish.
All right, I like it. Abraham, who did you say?
I just think Cirie's game of playing Survivor is timeless. I think she can play in any era of Survivor. She's shown it be, she's just coming back off of playing Survivor in Australia. So she's more fresher than ever coming back into any other older players. The rest of the players haven't played. Cirie just played. So I think she's already in the mindset. I think she's going to do well. And I think regardless of who the players are, Cirie just kind of plays well with everybody.
Yeah. I also think Cirie. I think that she is just like deep run after deep run in all of these games that she does. I think that this season is going to be no different. Like, I don't know if she's going to win, although I really hope she does. But I definitely, I can see her going to at least like final 7, final 6 this time, just because I know better than to bet against her. I think, yeah, like you said, Abraham, she plays well with everybody, and we just saw her do it again in Australia. Like, it doesn't matter that she has such a huge reputation. Like, people, she still finds her way to do what she does. I think even though she's 55 years old, like we saw in Australia, physically, she's no Jonathan, but also she's not like a liability. You know, you don't have to. She can hold her own. I was really impressed in Australia. There was the one endurance challenge where they were like holding up the plate with their legs that ultimately came down to like Parvati and Cass. But Cirie got 3rd place in that challenge out of like 10, 11 people. So like she got 3rd place against like some really good people. I know, I was really impressed. So
who's that guy, that old guy you said was gonna get voted out before the merge and end up winning Survivor? What's the guy's name again? What was that?
Old guy who ended up winning Survivor. I don't know who you're talking about, man.
Yeah, you do. Why can't I remember what's his name? He's a he works in a surgeon with neurology. What is his name?
Are you talking about Gabler?
Gabler.
Oh yeah.
We'll talk so bad about Gabler, man. I was like, Gabler is the man. End up winning his season. He was a hater.
So there's a reason why I started doing the Analytical Edgic show right after season 43, by the way, Abraham. I saw season 43, and I'm like, I need to figure out how people can predict. Because everyone was like, yeah, if you pay attention to the Edgic, you could tell that Gabler was always going to win, and it was never going to be Cassidy or Owen. I was still rooting for Jesse. So I don't know.
I think the thing that was I saw both back to back with Marianne and then Gabler was that they were both like on the outside of things, like outside of the core strategically, but they were still constantly giving their strategic point of view when they didn't have to. So not that I called my shot with either one of them, but I'm just like, oh yeah, it was definitely there. Like and going into the finale, I'm like, I did think if it's not Jesse, then it's Gabler, because of the edit. I'm like, they're showing why else would they show us all this stuff with him?
Yeah, Jesse would have been. Jesse was 1 vote away.
Yeah,
Jesse was.
Well, we'll save the Survivor 43 recap for some other day. But yes, I'm with Abraham that I think Cirie is going to go the farthest. Now, on the flip side, final question: of the 6 people we discussed tonight, who do we think is going to get voted off first? Not necessarily first in the whole game, but first of these 6.
Oh, that's a toss-up.
I'll go first this time, and I think it was pretty clear. I think it's Coach. I just don't. Like, I think people see through his stuff a lot more now than they did back then, and I just do not see it working out for him on this tribe.
Yeah.
Coach is my guess.
It was a toss-up between Coach and Oz, so I'm just going to go with Oz. Either one.
I think Coach has more win equity. I see more worlds where Coach makes final tribal council and wins over Ozzy. But I think because of starting tribes, I think Coach, it's just not. But honestly, too, like Coach, I think can still play a Survivor game. I think he's aware of himself. I think he can still pull it off. He just needs to really be radically different. He just can't be Coach. He has to be Benjamin.
Yeah,
I think if he was on a different tribe, I wouldn't put him at all as being voted out first. But he's just on a tribe that I just don't see he fits. And he just doesn't look like he fits. So it's going to be interesting to see how he plays. Hopefully, Coach, you don't get voted out first. but it's
Yeah.
not because of your gameplay, but your tribe do look kind of sketchy.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
here we have 6 people who all debuted at least 15 years ago and who we have not seen on U.S. Survivor in at least 10 years. So say whatever you will about the casting choices of this season. We got 6 like true OGs from the first 10 years of the show that like make it what it is. So really fun to talk through all of them tonight. I am super interested to see how it goes for all 6 of them. And yeah, just talking about this with you guys has made me even like a lot more excited for. I've always been excited for season 50, but I am really excited to just like sink our teeth into it in 4 weeks from tonight.
It's gonna be so glorious.
So yes, let's go.
Yeah, so Abraham, Will, thank you so much for lending your time and your perspective to the show tonight. We will be back this time next week to discuss the next 6 people, so all the 6 people who debuted in the 30s. So Aubrey, Chrissy, Christian, Mike, Angelina, Rick Devins. We will be discussing them this time next week with a panel. And yes, in the meantime, follow us on Instagram and all socials at Survivor Now Podcast. We see here on Instagram and Blue Sky at Survivor Now Podcast, on Twitter and TikTok at Survivor Now Pod. Make sure you like our channel and subscribe to it on YouTube. Tell other people about it. It's always a fun time. Thank you to those of you who followed along in the chat and were making comments. It's always a fun time with you all. And yeah, we will see you next week.